Hello, my name is Yogini Rasta and I'm yoga instructor of the International Open Yoga University. Today is March 31st and we are meeting for our online yoga classes for our website yogaopenyoga.com for all those people who want to learn yoga systematically, seriously, and gradually, so that you would be able to learn yoga from very basics and then to advanced in more and more complex areas. We already have had quite many classes that are available on our site and where you can test your knowledge with various tests and homeworks. So register there and see how this site can be helpful. It's completely not entertainment site, it's educational site. So if you have any questions, we are always very happy to receive them by email to yogaopenyoga@gmail.com. And today we are going to have very interesting topic that all, without an exception, are having in their life. And it's decision making. And it's the way how you can take a very grounded, justified decisions that will be maximum effective. And usually consulting companies would charge you enormous amount of money for these kind of knowledge. However, you have your yoga knowledge and you are able to make decisions without spending so much money. And you'll see it's a very interesting and entertaining topic and very useful too. As we know, yoga is system of self-exploration and exploring of the universe. So you're exploring the world in yourself and you yourself in the world. You can do it in many different ways, and our world is quite complicated. It's not that obvious what is happening and how. Thereby, we often get confused. However, for yoga to be yoga, or for exploration to be yoga, you have to follow the two basic principles of yoga, and those are the principle of kindness and the principle of effectiveness. You would say, wow, you keep on repeating the same over and over again. But can you really tell me these two principles by heart? So they would be the first principle, or the principle of kindness, would say that we should avoid harming any living being unless it's impossible. And if it's impossible to avoid harm, we should follow our duty, or dharma as it's in Sanskrit name. Because as we know, no harm is something that we are reaching for, but we live in the plane of logic and in the plane of karma. And karma is only the law of causes and consequences. And we already had quite a lot of time devoted to these topics in our previous lessons. So take a look on our YouTube channel or on our website. And yes, if we can't avoid harm, we try to follow our duty. And all of us has their own duty. So the solution that will be good for somebody might not work for us. But we might have some common path together that the same solution would fit for many people. And then there is the second principle. That's the principle of efficiency, or the principle of logic, that many business people like, and this at the larger extent shows how successful they will be. And it says that we should define our goals and to refuse from activities, paying attention, using resources for things that are not leading us to our goals. So the goals can be any. You can choose the work, the sports, the leisure time, yoga, hobbies, so on and so forth. So you just name the goal, and there you are to achieve it. There is also the third principle of yoga for the fast methods, but we are not going to talk about that today or at this moment, but we will mention it later during the class. So at the very larger extent, this class will be devoted to the first, second, and third principle, but from the perspective of decision making. Because we have to make decisions. Every day we have to make simple and complex decisions, and there are the times when we really have to make very serious decisions like which area to study, which person to choose for the forming of the family, and there are also some other things that where we have to make the decision. And it might not be that easy. Imagine if you don't know French and you go to the French restaurant and there is this wonderful French waiter who is speaking to you only French. You get the menu and you have to choose the meal. And you want to show that you are aware of what you are ordering, but you don't have a clue what to do. The same in our life. We might, based on our previous experience, on our knowledge, we can find these solutions, and we could have certain perspective how it's going to work. But when we open the menu in a French restaurant, I mean a chic French restaurant, and you are ordering something and your waiter is like pronouncing what does it say because it's all in French, and you say okay, and you never know what you eat. To avoid that kind of French stuff, but of course French language is fantastic, it sounds great, and French people and their cuisine is also fantastic, just as far as you know what you are ordering, or at least getting some suggestions in the language you understand. So we will try to avoid being absolutely without French knowledge in a French restaurant when we are making the decision. Because some of my friends, when we were graduating from the secondary school, we were trying to decide what we are going to do. And sometimes relatives and friends are asking a 3 or 4-year-old, or when the kid goes to the primary school, who are you going to be? You are going to be an astronaut or pilot, a doctor, or a president. It's kind of a stress for a kid. So they usually say, no, I will work in a confectionery shop. I will make sweets, and or I will be a bus driver. So the way we perceive the world and how the kid sees it might quite differ a lot. So, but we are grown-ups, and we want to really make good decisions that will, at a large extent, impact the way we will live in the future and what kind of impact we will make on other people's lives. Because we might think, oh, I'm alone. This decision impacts only me. But imagine you're living in a traditional family, and your mom is a great cook, and your dad always wants to have some meat at least 90% of times for the dinner. And then you say, well, I want to be a vegetarian. Imagine mom, the reaction of mom that is trying to make a nice meal for you, but you're saying, well, I'm going to be a vegetarian, I'm not eating meat. This worked for some time and now it's not working. So how should we act in this kind of situation? Should we just say, well, I want a food without meat? Either we should kind of say, well, mom, you would not say anything, but you would not eat meat even though it's there, or um, to have a nice chat with your mom when she's making a dinner, or you would start preparing dinner for yourself by yourself. So there are many different solutions for this kind of situation, and this is not that complex situation like we might have in our life. So, um, so what's the algorithm for making the decision in yoga, or as the yoga is life, and it's practical, it's logical, it's human. If it works for you, it's the one. Then the yoga says, firstly, you have to remember that you are free, right? Because if there is no freedom, there is no yoga, and you can, at the large extent, take whatever decision you like. Of course, there are different circumstances, but we will come to them later. When you have remembered that you are completely free, then you remember the first principle of yoga, or the principle of no harm, that you try to avoid harming any living being as much as it's possible. So probably there will be some decisions or solutions for the situation that you will put aside as the ones that are not that nice for the other people, or you would start grading them, how each solution will impact different people, and the people who you know, whom you don't know. Of course, our life is like a puzzle, and some pieces of puzzle are missing. Thereby, we have the certain area where we have no knowledge about, and that's normal. And there can always be situations um, when new conditions appear. So probably it is good to think when you are asked to make a certain decision, um, to think whether this decision is not going to bring you in a corner or make you unable to make some other moves in order to improve the situation if the new conditions arise. So sometimes we really need to be like cats. For example, if you are taking the loan, quite a big sum of money, what if your income changes, or the percent rate changes in a bank, or some other things happen that somebody you might, well, usually we are seeing the more negative conditions when somebody can lose a job, or somebody can get ill, or the certain area or industry you're working in are having some kind of crisis or more difficult times, or there are new competitors coming into the market. Of course, you will usually be more positive about those things, but when it comes to the loan and to a long-term loan, uh, you would be very careful with these things because it's binding you for quite a long time. Or if you are signing the agreement with the telecommunication company and taking, for example, a phone that you are paying for, and they say you have to conclude the agreement for, let's say, 3 years, and that you will pay at least a certain amount of money for a certain program. So, and then it turns out that in 2 or 3 months, you might switch to a new program that is 3 times less, but you already have signed a contract that for this time you will choose only this program that is more expensive and still paying for the phone and the percentage for the phone. So yes, it's good to be quite flexible, adjusting to the different things. So let's go back to the algorithm. So first thing, you remember that you are free. Then you remember the first principle of yoga and your duty. Actually, that's a very important thing. because there are people who have made their freedom smaller in order for you to expand your freedom. Example, your parents, when you came into this world, they kind of narrowed their freedom in order for you to grow up, to get food, to be dressed, to go to school, and so on and so forth. So you are here now. You can learn yoga. You can do a lot of other things. And it doesn't matter how good are the relationships with your parents. You have certain duties, responsibilities regarding them. And there are many other people. The most people we are usually owed to are all relatives. And then there are people who have taken good care of us or have given a good attitude to us, and we owe them. In a certain extent, we owe to them. Okay, three things. You're free, first principle, second principle, and your duty. Your freedom, your first principle, including your duty, and then we go to the second principle that tells us that we should be effective. Defining the goals and going for them without like being a donkey. They say that if there is a donkey and the food will be, different kind of food will be in the same distance from the donkey, then probably the donkey will die of hunger because he won't be able to decide which way to go and will be going like back and forth, and sometimes people are making 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, and 2 steps back. Not effective. So it's a good thing to try a different kind of solutions for this kind of situation. And also, when people practice yoga, they want, in the very beginning, they are going like, yes, I'm going to do the yoga and I can do it. And you look to the sides what other people are doing and what the yoga instructor is doing. And then at certain point you feel that your body is aching and gets tired, or you get some injury or trauma just because you are trying to exceed the limits that you shouldn't. Yoga is always first about non-harm and then about the efficiency. Of course, it doesn't mean that you are like no harming yourself and not putting any efforts in it. So it's also not going to be effective. And when you have seen you're free, you remember of non-harm principle, then you bring some solutions away when you remember what's your duty. Again, some solutions are taken away. Then you remember about the efficiency. And again, you'll see those that are left are the most effective ones. Then what you do, you see if you are going through the fast methods, because there are 2 kinds of the methods or kinds of yoga, rather classical and the fast methods. Usually the classical methods are Hatha yoga, Kriya yoga, mantra yoga, pranayama yoga, and meditation. These would very well go into the 8-step development of Patanjali, or Ashtanga yoga, where Ashtanga means 8. And yes, but there are the fast methods of yoga, requiring one more principle, and it's principle of non-suffering, with 2 sides. One is that you do the maximum to refuse from the suffering yourself, so you stop suffering. However, it's not that easy as it sounds. The same with the first principle and the second principle. And at the same time, you help other people to avoid suffering. Which thing is more important in the third principle? Either you stop suffering yourself or you help others. they are both equally important, but when you start helping others, if they are asking for that, then you might get a far more better results than just by stopping suffering yourself. But they come together. You kind of can't put them one by one. Okay, still some solutions left. Then you might ask the people you find to be important in your life as your authorities, like kids go to their teachers at school or their uncles and aunts, godfathers, godmothers. Um, there are some special people in your life whose opinion is important for you. And at this point, you go to them and ask for their kind of opinion and how it's working. You also can ask the opinion of majority, or you can ask several those authorities for them to express their opinion regarding your possible solutions regarding certain situation or problem. And then when you have this opinion again, you have either one or two or three decisions left. Of course, if you have one decision left after the first principle or after the second, you stop this topic and go to the very last one. That is also the last step after you have asked the majority about their opinion and have followed it, is the fact that you again remember that you are free. You are free to make any decision you like, even though when you assessed by the first principle, the second principle, the third principle, by somebody from the people you like very much and trust very much said that some solution should not be taken into account. It's your decision. You are free and you go for it if you want it. You just understand that by taking a certain decision, you bring certain consequences. But you are free, so you do as you wish. And actually, we could stop here for all those who are very limited in time. I have told you all that you need to know. Remembering that you have a situation, you write down the possible solutions. Firstly, you remember that you're free to choose any. Then you see it through the perspective of the first principle of your duty, the second principle, the third principle, asking of the majority or your people you trust. Then you again remember that you are free and you go for it. So that would be the main thing. But we will take some more extra time for looking at these principles, decision making, and other topics to move on. So this, as I said, is a very important topic because every day we have to make decisions. From time to time, we have to make really important decisions that will make an impact, probably not only to this life, but the lives going to follow. Because yoga really thinks that we live not only this life, but also we have many, many lives, millions of them, until we reach the final goal or the point of yoga. And we really need to work in this area, but you are free. And if you say, no, I live only this life, then this decision-making algorithm will also be helpful for you in this unique, perfect life. Because if you will say that something does not exist, for you it won't exist unless somewhere before you have not expressed the willingness to have it in your life. But this is kind of complex theory I'm trying to explain in simple words, and you will say, no, makes absolutely no sense. Um, in yoga, we know that there are three levels, like illogic, logic, and supreme logic or super logic. And when we work with yoga, what we try to do is to get rid of illogic. It's this level is full of animal instincts. It means that I have to be the first, or I have to beat all my competitors. If somebody did something bad to me, I have to kind of do it back. This is like a lot of animal instincts rather than being logical. And what we do in yoga, we work a lot with our mind, with our concentration, with our emotions, and we really try to work out the level of logic. Those people who are, especially in the summers, telling you that we will clean your chakras, general cleaning, and we will fill in your chakras with the good energy. For us, it's about nothing. Who can tell that they feel the chakras and are able to explain these feelings in a logical way? Not many, if any. And thereby we are working on this level of logic, and it's mainly the second principle of yoga. But of course, we are free. Somebody more, somebody less, but we are free to make our decisions, and we are not robots, or we don't have already input software in us that would bring the same answer for the same situation. Then we would really be like small robots going right and left, and you would always know the solution. Of course, computers are great. They are processing information far more quickly than the people can, than the humans can, at least the average humans. But they don't have empathy, emotions. That would differentiate us from the machine with the certain program. And the program from time to time can develop, but still it depends on the developer who created the program um, and the information that was built in the system. Of course, we have lots of movies and lots of TV series showing about the artificial intellect. They can be very helpful for people if they are used in the right way. But we are not always aware of the consequences of these programs developing. So, but we are free to use or not to use them. So, but the freedom, the concept of freedom is supreme logic, and also the concept of being kind and being good to other people is also somewhere above the level of logic. It is logical, but only from the supreme logic level in order to assess it. And this concept also of the freedom can be very abstract and very material. It just depends how you look on these things and how you assess them. How deep is your philosophy? How deep or rich is your understanding of the life? Because if there will be somebody who would say there is God, and they truly believe in the God, there will be a God for this person. And the other person who is telling them there is no God and there will never be a God for this person also is right. And they also, both people are acting in the way they think. So, and that's their freedom. However, the problem starts when they start arguing who is more right. And it's difficult for the people to accept the opinion of other person, especially when we are living together. And we truly we have found something working. For example, some people find the answer in the religion. Religion and believing in God help them to solve life situations, um, kind of to if they were addicted to something, they have found a way out of there just because they believed it. And so they are very energetic in saying, yes, there is God and God is everything. But sometimes the people find this ability to fight with some addictions or some problems inside themselves. And they are not, like both of them are not really able to explain how this happened, but it happened. And they both have their way they perceive the world, and they both are right unless they are restricting the freedom of each other. So, yes, you choose the way you go and you choose the way it is. Because it's very sad when these kind of conflicts bring to a certain wars and military conflicts or conflicts just between two people. And when they found the matter of this issue more important than the life of a person, um, but we are not here to judge them, and they each person has made their decision depending on what they base it, but we kind of have to see the solution the way it is at this moment. And as I said, freedom is as the default, the basic layer we have. But the freedom always has the second part, the reverse side. Because, oh, we have democracy, we have a freedom, we are here to make other people free. Some people might not be ready for the freedom. And actually, when you are free, in order for you to be free, there is this side of responsibility that we need to take into account. Like, if you're having sex with your partner and your partner becomes pregnant, then it's your responsibility to take care of the kid. Or if you uh, said that you are going to do something um, and you give your word for that, then the other side would kind of think that you will fulfill your promise. Where somebody is giving you the money and they really expect that you will return the money. Or if you find somebody's, like you find the computer or laptop, but somebody forgot it. How you act in this kind of situations. I had a class with my students and I was asking them, uh, would you suppose that you had left your computer or bag at the bus stop? Do you think that it would be still there waiting for you, or somebody would find a way to return your bag or your wallet or your documents? Because things get lost in many different ways. And actually, the answer was quite sad that no, it's not going to be there. However, there are many wonderful examples that people are searching for the owners of some things through social networks, especially if animals are lost. And some other people forget their wallets somewhere, and then they return and it's there, and people have taken a good care of that. So it's a good thing to return belongings of others as they are not making us usually very happy. Uh, and taking into account that if something is going to happen with you like that you forget something or lose something, that it will be still there waiting for you. So yes, this is the concept of the freedom and responsibility. But as we see today, a lot of people are kind of putting this part of responsibility away and saying, yes, I am free, yes, I am free. But with the time, you see how less and less free this person becomes if they forget about their responsibility. And also, your responsibility is your duty. We can say the duty and the debt. In some languages, the same word means both things, the debt and the duty. But we have to kind of use both of them. One is the debt that we have to return, and actually duty is the debt we are returning. But for the clarity of explanation, I try to use both of them. But if you see in our materials these two terms, then they both are like synonyms in the way we perceive it. It just depends on the situations when because if they both come together, both their meanings are better understood and comprehended. So when we come to this notion of freedom, we say we are born free, but there are people taking care of us. So in some way, we should take care of the parents when they are becoming older, or at the stage when we can be a good help to them. Of course, the relationships are forming very different ways. There are good relationships between parents and the kids. There are worse relationships between the parents and kids, and both sides are suffering. Both sides have different experiences. As parents say, well, my childhood was more difficult, but I'm a more liberate parent than my parents used to be, or I was working in a very poor conditions, and my kids have whatever they want. They're going to a good school. They have all mobile devices they want, but still they are not satisfied, leaving out this emotional part. While in their childhood, they might have this emotional part, but feeling that they have the lack of some material things. So we choose the way we go, and we make our decisions, but that's why we are having this topic, how to solve these kind of situations, and how to find the best solutions we can. And in this way, if we apply the first principle, including the term of the duty, we already cut off some of the worst decisions, like coming home saying, I am going to be a vegetarian, this meat should be off the table, we are not eating, all our families not eating meat, I hate this stuff, how can you make anything like that? And those people who have always giving you meat are like confused. Why you did like this, and what are they supposed to do now, and what are you going to eat? Because for some people meat is everything. It's a good decision, but if you live in a very severe conditions where it's a low temperature, and people kind of build their energy not on the yoga exercises and some secret sources, but mainly from the food they consume, then they will be kind of confused really. And also the first principle and the term duty or dharma. It's also defining our life path. We already mentioned we had a special class on this topic. But yes, the kind of maneuver through the first and the second principle. For some people, it's quite broad road to choose but for some people, it's very narrow, like the sharp side of the knife, and you kind of try to balance between this very tiny path you go, because if you kind of step to the right, you fall, and if you step to the left, you fall again. So you decide which way it goes, and of course we want to have the more broad road, to have more like space for our own choices. But if our previous decisions have made us in the corner, somebody's that only way you could be back, then that's the way we have formed the situations. And really suggest you to, if you have not heard our lesson about Dharma and the balancing of the first and the second principle, to take a close look at it, because some people think if after the secondary school I choose to become a doctor, or I choose to become an artist, or a teacher, then this is the way you will go your entire life. If you have a great gift to go one single path, and you really have kind of got the notion that this is what you are doing, and you are fantastic at this, and this is what makes you happy, great, go for it, and it might work for you perfectly. But for a lot of people, they either have not taken the right decision, or not the best decision, or found their talents, or the way they perceive life, their look on life has become wider, or they really have to do fulfill some kind of duty, and then when it's over, they can like switch to the next stage. So there are many different variants, and there's no right or wrong, or there are more like appropriate or inappropriate in that kind of way. Yes. And as you see, your life has changed, of course. And previously, really, if you were your profession was to wash clothes, or to make shoes, then this was what you were doing for your entire life. Now you can do one work, you can have a hobby or two, or even more, and that's the beauty of this time. However, we thought that by inventing different kind of machines and computers, we'll have more and more free time. However, it seems that everybody is like more in these kind of screens, trying to find their, scrolling through the social networks, trying to find what their friends are doing, instead of picking up the phone or meeting them alive. So it's kind of a new world of illusions, and yoga is really letting us to remove some kind of those illusions away. Not an easy task, especially when we find a lot of time in these screens. Actually, I was recently reading a study about the restaurant in New York, and they said that for some reason the complaints of people are about the service of the restaurant are appearing on the internet more and more often, that the servicing is taking too long and stuff like that. So they hired a consulting company, And then what they found the recordings about the servicing of people 10 years ago. They had a videotape, and they had their cameras of the modern time, and they saw that people are getting seated um, at the same time period like it was 10 years ago. Now about if then there were about 5% people asking to change the seat, and now it's about the 1/3 or 35%. Then what they do, the waiter brings them the menu. What they do, they point them to their phones and asking something to the waiter. Turns out they are looking for a Wi-Fi. Then instead of choosing the meal from the menu, they are doing what? They are still surfing on their phones, probably answering calls or calling somebody, but usually just surfing on the internet. But they didn't check what they were doing, what kind of websites they were checking their either menu of the restaurant or not, probably not. And the waiter approaches 2 or 3 times in order to get the order because they are not ready to order. They haven't really opened the menu. When when they have ordered, then the meal is brought. The first course is in about 6 minutes. Of course, it's the second meal or the main course then takes some longer time. When the meal is there, they take the selfies with the food or ask the waiter to take the group photos, taking the waiter's time, eating more and more. And instead of spending an hour and something, they spend there almost 2 hours, spending probably the same amount of money for the food and stuff like that. And then complaining that the servicing is taking too long. Yes. Information for you to think over, and returning to our main topic about decision making. So whenever you are in a restaurant, it's also the place to make a decision. But as I told before, asked you before, can you really tell me the first and the second principle by heart? Oh, I heard it, it was something, yes, non-harm, kindness, efficiency, and we stop there. It's good to learn them by heart. It's necessary to learn by heart and to think them over from time to time in order to really develop in this area and to become more and more experienced in it. So if consulting companies can take millions for giving kind of instruction in this area, then we can spend at least half an hour thinking this over and learning it by heart. When you have learned it, it is preferable to discuss these kind of topics with the people who have about the same opinion that you do, or who are learning these principles too. So your yoga mates, or if you have found this more like coaching lessons, then please share it, and this might be helpful. And if you have a possibility to talk to your teachers or instructors, do so and repeat it. And it is the way we master the method. It's not just like, oh, I know it. All we can give is we can give the knowledge. But whether the people are going to learn it, it depends on these people. You can't force anybody to learn. You can simply give the knowledge. And it also depends on whether people are ready to accept it or not. And on what kind of level this accepting of knowledge will be. Yes, when you have remembered it, you become more free at that very moment. And also, you remember this act or condition of freedom, and the fact that you acknowledge that you are free makes you even more free. And this means that you can go in various directions, taking the responsibility of the things that are going to happen. But yes, you can really remember that. Because when you say start just making decisions the way that other people would want you to, that would be beneficial for them rather than being beneficial to you and the people you owe to. Um, at some point you will be very disappointed. And some decisions are difficult, bringing a lot of circumstances, no, but consequences with them. But when they are made, when these difficult circumstances take the effect, you see that your life improves considerably. Like, some people would be very excited to know what people are thinking about them. It's like reading the mind. And they say that they would be able to pay a lot for these kind of skills. But imagine that you are reading the minds of others and other people are reading what you are really thinking. Are you that free and open to disclose your hidden thoughts that you might not be aware of? Or some people say that it would be great if we would be honest to each other. Telling the truth. But what in the situations when we are lying to ourselves? Are we really always honest with? Do we really understand what we want? If we see the same commercial hundreds and hundreds of times, offering us a toothpaste, for example, then probably at a certain time we will buy this toothpaste, regardless of the fact that we don't know the content, we don't know what's for, and we might not even need it, but we will buy it. Because our consciousness or mind was pointed to this screen and we saw it, and this is even not a conscious but unconscious decision. We just automatically take something from the shop. We buy it. Okay, it's a toothpaste, but if they start bringing a new understanding to people, what they need, what is fashy, what is sexy, what is handsome, and for some time this is going to work. Like the fashion, it also changes with the season, but sometimes fashion, they say that there's a new season just because they want to make their sales bigger. We are living in an environment, in a society with a lot of lies. And a lot of things change depending on the situation in the society. Because compare the society 50 years ago or 100 years ago, when there were different wars, revolutions, and so on and so forth. These relationships among the people, what were the values, and how they are affected, and what is worth it and what's not. Today we are not free in many ways because we are kept busy all the time. We are busy at work. We are busy uh, getting through the jams home if we are living in a big city. We are busy reading the news, watching the TV, helping kids with their homework. We're busy shopping for the family. We are all the time busy. Do you have time? No, I don't. Let's find the time to meet. And it's like about nothing. We are not finding any time to meet. So in order to remove these layers of those lies, or either the misinterpretations, confusions, we need to really go through these the principles of yoga, because they are harmless. They are harmless and they are effective, and in many ways they will improve your situation. So by heart, remembering that you are free, even if you are now under some certain conditions. Uh, Trying to be as kind and nice as possible. Of course, if it's your duty to manage your company and somebody is getting lazy, then you are doing unpleasant work and making some instructions to avoid this kind of stuff. Or if you see that the kids are getting hurt, um, you again intervene. But the societies are different. What fits for one society is not working for the other society. If you give um, instruction of how to use or how to build weapons for the people who are well aware of the first principle, who value the life of human, it's good. But if you do and give these instructions to the people who are not aware of the first principle, who don't care about the life of the people, they will make the weapons, even though they would never be able to kind of invent themselves, and they will go and killing. So your kind of good wish to help less educated poor people, giving the weapons, might bring to this situation when these weapons are turned to you and ready to fire. Thereby, you see that kind of apparently simple decisions or actions made without thinking might bring to certain negative circumstances. And it's good if circumstances are showing you quite fast what is going to happen after some time, then some kind of consequences that may happen you might see really in a very long term, and then ability to change something is very, very limited. Because imagine you have given these instructions to one person and kind of made and this person is not contacting to anybody, but is living in own conditions, and you see the reaction. But when it comes to the millions of these kind of people, and all of this is just going more and more, then it is efficient, it's useful, it's profitable for you to be kind, because this life, when you are, you think, oh, I am the body, I'm this very body, this is where I end. But how about the emotions? How about our mind? How about our kids? How about people we love and care? If something is happening to the person you like, something bad, you are disappointing. When something good happens, you are very happy. If you have certain property and somebody has done some harm to it, I guess you are not going to be very happy, with some exceptions, if you wanted to get rid of this property, but or it helps you to understand some principles. I remember the lady in one of my classes telling that After a perspective of several years, it was about 10 years, the thing that she thought when it happened as the worst thing that has happened in her life was the biggest present from above to for her to change her life, to change her the way she acts, the things that she do. And of course, at that time, she had it was about the change in her career when she was laid off, and she found a completely new work and working with people who have the same interests and being quite independent. Well, she that she didn't have in the previous work. But of course, this lack of knowledge, what's going to happen next, if I'm going to have the money tomorrow or not, um, can be a very stressful thing. If you take it as, as the thing that has happened and you have to solve it, either you stress out, like, well, what I'm going to do, and you're laying down with your ice cream, watching the TV series, and kind of feeling no ability or strength to move forward. Uh, this also happens. There are a lot of people suffering from depression. We make our nice American smiles, and we try to kind of show everybody off that we are so successful, so happy, so nice. Or other nations are never letting everybody know that they something has been a good thing. So very interesting things. And speaking about the same lady, her friend also lost the work when she had for years already worked in her new position. She offered her a possibility to work in her company, but after 2 months, this lady said, "No, this is the complete nightmare. I just don't get it. How you can work there for ages? Please fire me or lay me off." And she just couldn't. So there are many people, they have many different skills, abilities, and there are many different ways that suit for somebody and doesn't suit for others. So uh, to go the classical way, we have the two principles, kindness and efficiency. If you have decided, if you've made a decision, then go for it and do it. Uh, Unless you see that's completely wrong and it's not your way, you should do. But about the second, and you can do the split things, you are free. But yes, we have talked about this topic previously, and you are more than welcome to find the lesson we devoted to that topic in our archives in our website. So, um, we have this importance of the depth in decision making. Because some people say, well, I don't owe you. You helped me, but I don't owe you. You decided that you want to help. If you are helping somebody, then do it from your heart and don't expect somebody to help you, because help the same person to help you, because help might come from the other side, and if somebody doesn't want to help you, that's their problem. Probably there are more complex things, connections binding you to this person, but and we are free unless we have made some mistakes, and we are free to pay for our mistakes. And yes, don't forget about your debt and duty. It's good to return your debt as soon as possible. And in yoga, for example, there's this concept that our life energy is primarily spent for returning of debts. like for cleaning, not the cleaning, but for balancing the negative karma. And if there's not enough energy or prana for this life energy, then we kind of get weak, passive, frustrated. We are not in a natural condition that is happiness and joy. Uh, this is a complete nightmare on the earth. But when you are being kind, nice, returning the debt, and it's nice to return debt when you have the money, rather than when you have the money, you kind of try to pretend that you don't have the money. And then when you are forced to return the money, you understand that now you have to work your butt off in order to return the debt, even though just some time ago you would have been able to do it very easily. And yoga helps us to accumulate this life energy, and it's good to return debts when you are strong rather than when you have spent it for nothing or for just fun or other things, not bringing you closer to your goals, fulfilling your duty. So again, it's a good thing to avoid those negative results. Where of course there are very extreme situations when you have to make a very fast decision. If you have previously trained yourself by writing down the decisions, analyzing them, this will start happening automatically. And you can automatically run, you would even not notice how you make the decision. It's kind of good to have it on automatic decision rather than have automatically taking the same toothpaste over and over from the store because you are seeing it on a TV screen. And it's helpful. It's really, really good. Let me see what we have not covered yet. About the freedom and decision making. If we are working with this area in yoga with the logic, we are free to expand this area, explore it, but we also should take into account that there is also the thing that calls supreme logic. That today we would say the miracle happened, but from the supreme logic level, it's just logical thing. We just don't know these laws and the way it works. And we try to remember it because it's quite difficult to formulate our duty and things happening only on the complete logic level. However, in order to kind of step in the supreme logic level, we at first have to work out the level of logic. Still, the things of the supreme logic level happen in our life. And we are free to choose both wise things and the foolish ones. This is also about the principle of efficiency. Then there is such a fact as people around us, and as we already discussed, we might ask the majority for their decision. Of course, we are not going to go to people whom we meet first, unknown people. Those should be like-minded people. I guess homeless people, unless they're teachers with the big letter, with the capital letter, won't be good advisors for where would it be the best to teach your kids and about some difficult situations in relationships. However, some people find it very entertaining to spend some time with these kind of people, kind of seeing their perspective of life, and why they have just chosen one way or the other. And it's a very interesting approach when you are going in the different directions, and when you have the kind of pointers. In Latvia, we have the fairy tales, the national fairy tales, and there's always three brothers, three ways you can go, three wishes that can be fulfilled. And there's always, you will go to the right, you take the middle path, and you will go to the left. And each time you're either there you will lose your head, there will be use your horse, or there will you lose your money. And all have these very dangerous things. And there's always somebody who is helping to make this decision. By helping other people, this decision is coming to them, to you. Yes, I said quite a lot, trying to squeeze in our very limited time these things. As I said, you could stop already on, I don't know, about 10-15 minutes, knowing that first you remember you are free. Remembering the first principle, remembering your duty or debt, remembering the principle of efficiency or the second principle. If you're going the fast methods, remembering the third principle, and also remembering you can ask the people whom you trust, or the majority of your soulmates, who will could give a good advices regarding your decisions. And the final point again, remembering that you are free to choose whatever you like. Situations can be different, and I hope this material helps you, and just reminding you that my name is Evgenia Rasa. These are the classes, yoga classes of the International Open Yoga University. We have a bunch of lessons and text materials and homeworks and tests for you to verify your knowledge also on this material. And we meet about once a week. If you are interested on our online lessons, please email us to the yogaopenyoga@gmail.com, or check our website, that is yogaopenyoga.com, and you will find all the necessary information there. If you have any difficulties, again, there is email address written if there are some confusions or anything. My best wishes, and I hope that this material was useful and you will be able to apply it in a more practical life without spending thousands and thousands of dollars for the coaches and different consulting companies. So good luck. Bye bye.